This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. Sucker Punch is easily one of the best studios that Sony has. They always manage to deliver. The PS2 era was full of colorful platformers with different settings. Some were more action-focused, others had shooter elements, and Sucker Punch played around with stealth. The Sly Cooper series is looked upon fondly by the player base, and when they jumped to the PS3, there was a pivot to take on superheroes. Instead of adapting an existing property, Sucker Punch made their own with a lot of grit and style. The comic book style cutscenes returned, and the gameplay was essentially a third-person shooter, where the powers would take the place of different guns and weapons. Personally, Infamous is one of my favorite titles. From gameplay to story and style, it absolutely nails what it's trying to accomplish. Infamous spawned a few sequels, which I also enjoy, but the first will always be a personal favorite of mine. Then came Ghost of Tsushima, which I see as the swan song to the PS4. It had a strong narrative, visual style, cool gameplay, with appreciated options. Even years later, Sucker Punch knew how to deliver high quality to the players, but oddly enough, I honestly thought their first game was Sly Cooper. So I wanted to do some digging, and I came across that my assumption was wrong. Sucker Punch's first game wasn't even a PlayStation title, it was actually a Nintendo game. Platformers were pretty big during the N64 era, and Rocket Robot on Wheels was Sucker Punch's first title. You never know what to expect when going back to a developer's first game, and in some cases you are pleasantly surprised seeing the foundation that they were laying for future titles. So today, let's dive into Rocket Robot on Wheels for a bit. Rocket Robot on Wheels is a charming platformer that is a title that is more focused on exploration, discovery, challenges, and of course, jumping. Combat is not the focus at all, yet the game is always engaging and continually very fun. This is the type of space you want to be within, and honestly, I kinda wish they made a sequel for this title. The levels are based on ancient Greece to fighting through underground mines. There's so much variety. The potential to have more levels and exciting locations is pretty much endless, especially considering that Sucker Punch manages to use each location well, in that they feel fully realized, either through the visual design or the gameplay options that each one provides. Rocket is a fun game, and one that can be pretty challenging at times, and it is one that leaves you scratching your head because it seems like this title should not have been lost to time. When it comes to game introductions, this could arguably be one of the most important parts for a game to nail. There needs to be some form of a hook. What is the thing that pulls the player in? Is it a story beat or early reveal? Or even a setup that intrigues the player to push forward? Or maybe it's something mechanically that catches your attention and makes you want to keep going. For Rocket, Sucker Punch manages to go light yet be effective with its story concept, as you try to save an amusement park. The dialogue is limited, but the visuals are colorful, and the design to the characters are distinct, especially Rocket himself. After the first cutscene, you are then dropped into the first world, and there is this freedom that is provided to the player. You get some minor hints here and there, but for the most part you need to figure it out and take in the space. Maybe you want to explore it all, or maybe you just hit a few spots and come back later. What I like about this is it really isn't a wrong way to go. You have a top area that looks like a familiar fair-like location, and below is the beach. Each have their own things to find, discover, and challenges to overcome. The level of choice right out of the gate is really cool and appreciated. Do you opt to see what is around the beach area? Maybe find some dungeons tucked away? Or maybe you go on top and discover that you need to find some screws to unlock another area? Or you're approached by another car and you need to find a car yourself to even challenge that race. I really love this type of stuff because it kind of goes back to how games were made back then. They had a more figuring it out type of design, where the mechanics are provided to the player and the player needs to then observe and try to put two and two together to complete each of the areas. There is this balance here, where you know what you need to do, but the game doesn't really just lead you to each place. You need to go out there and discover it for yourself. And the end result is that it makes the experience even more exciting and rewarding. Sure, there is frustration when providing this openness, but at the same time, the rewards seem to be greater. I really like how each of the levels seems to very much take advantage of their location. The first one is like a traditional fair, with challenges that in many ways represent aspects of those games that you might see at a fair itself, or even cool one-off type stuff like building a roller coaster track to obtain rewards. Another is more focused on ancient Greece, and then it incorporates changing colors of different objects to get through areas. Plus, each of the levels comes with their own vehicles to use, and each one you need to seek out and find or earn, and then you're free to use it within that stage. In many cases, that vehicle will allow you to complete and obtain more tickets and tokens to progress within the game. The movement and jumping feels good as well. You can really feel the weight behind your speedy movement along with the jumps. You earn more powers as you collect more tokens, and you have a tractor beam to help you collect or throw stuff. The levels are also set up in a way that if you want to pop between a few, you can do that as well. Or you can focus on just doing one until you 100% it. Rocket is a nice mixture of fun platforming with exploration, player choice, and discovery all going hand in hand. When it comes to my issues with the game, they mainly deal with the camera control, which can hurt some of your jumps at times, in situations where you need to take a bomb to another location, because if it touches anything, then it blows up, causing you damage. Outside of this stuff, it's a pleasant ride. Rocket Robot on Wheels is a really fun platformer, one that seems to have been forgotten about, but it's definitely one that has retained its quality over the years. Each time I would sit down to play this game, I was always surprised that it hasn't received the remastered treatment. This is an important part of Nintendo and Sucker Punch's history. Ubisoft was the publisher on the game, so I wonder if they also have the rights to it now. Either way, I like the gameplay, challenges, and unique worlds you get to play through. If you haven't tried it, I would recommend Rocket Robot on Wheels. Have you played Rocket? What is a forgotten platformer you really like? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.